Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy and doing blessed and doing safe. Welcome to your Geek Report for the week of January the 15th to the 22nd, 2024. Before I begin, I want to talk about this past week. This past week has been kind of crazy. So last Sunday, right around last Sunday-ish, um, the storm came through. A really big storm came through. Now it didn't dump a whole lot of snow on us, but it did dump around 1 to 2 inches. Okay. If there's just a dusting on the ground, people freak out. Okay. But this dumped like 1 or 2 inches. And on top of that, we had sub-zero temperatures for good part of the week. I mean, we're talking below zero wind chills. And on top of all that, my internet was acting kind of wonky. And then right around Thursday, my TV in my living room went out. So I had to take the TV in my bedroom, take it into the living room. Okay. Until I can get another TV. So yeah, like it's just been a crazy week. But we really only have one news article to really look at this week on the Geek Report. And that news article is the Xbox Direct. Now, they talked about a couple of games on the Xbox Direct. They talked about Valve. They talked about Hellblade 2, and they talked about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Those are the two I'm going to be talking about. Hellblade 2 and Indiana Jones. So we're going to look at those games, kind of look at them, just give you my overall impressions of them, okay? But that's really the only news article we got this week. So why don't you sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the Geek Report for the week of January 15th through the 22nd, 2024. So one of the games that was announced at the Xbox Direct was Hellblade 2. Now, we've known about this since the Game Awards, but this is a dev diary of Hellblade 2. Now, Ninja Theory does a lot of great games, okay? They did Devil May Cry games and they did Heavenly Blade, okay? So I'm really interested to see what they're going to bring to this, okay? Now, I did not play Hellblade 1. Okay, I've heard some great things about it, but I never played Hellblade 1. So we're going to check out this diary, this developer diary, and I'm just going to kind of give you some of my thoughts and opinions.
Hi, I'm Don Matthews, studio head here at Ninja Theory in Cambridge, UK. We're now in the final months of development on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and the team is working hard to bring you an unforgettable journey into Senua's unique world and her battle for survival, where we have once again combined high fidelity.
Already, this is looking absolutely beautiful. Just from what I'm seeing here, it's looking absolutely gorgeous, okay? Now, from what I understand, this is going to be an Xbox exclusive, but it's already looking beautiful.
An immersive presentation with a shorter, narrative-led experience that focuses on the things that we really care about, and that we hope you care about too.
Do you see how small you are? Do you see how the pitiless world stamps you down?
Senua is back with a new quest. She wants to stop the Vikings who raided her village right at their source, in Iceland. But not just her quest has changed. Senua herself has grown since the first Hellblade. She's made peace with her past and is no longer in such fear of her visions and voices. While the Furies are still her constant companions, she encounters new people along the way, some of which will value her unique perspective, and others who will reject it.
Little by little, this settlement became my tribe.
In the game, Senua arrives in 10th century Iceland on the trail of the Vikings who have been enslaving her people. In the story, we're trying to be as faithful to history as we can up to a point, establishing a solid framework and then building more surreal elements on top.
Okay, the fact that they're trying to be faithful to history is a good thing. You know, we've seen that in Assassin's Creed, and I understand there is a balance, okay? I full on understand that there is a balance to being faithful to history and also having great gameplay. I completely understand that. Okay. I really hope they do find that balance here in terms of like just finding that balance between gameplay and historical accuracy. Okay.
Senua will face up to giants who have plunged the land into chaos, and which in turn has seen the rise of the Droiga, a violent threat that has swept through the settlements that she'll discover. Senua will make new enemies and also new allies who will come to see her unique perspective as a beacon of hope. And she'll discover, along with us, how this viewpoint can have its advantages.
Senua is a Celtic warrior who experiences psychosis, seeing things that other people don't, hearing voices, and having unique beliefs about the world around her. To bring Senua's perspective of the world to life in a truthful way, we have once again worked closely with Professor Paul Fletcher at the University of Cambridge, as well as people with lived experience of psychosis.
Okay, so it seems to me that they're almost taking a mental approach to this, in that they're really adding more of like the psychosis of Senua to the game. So I'm wondering how that's going to play into it. Is her psychosis going to open up new quests? I can't think of the name of it, but there was a Nintendo game a long time ago that kind of did something very similar. And they are, I can't think of the name of it, but it would do crazy stuff. Like the more your fear meter reached in the game, the more crazy stuff it would do on the screen. Like it would suddenly shut the game off or pretend like it shut the game off, or you would hear voices or see images or stuff like that. So I'm kind of wondering if they're taking that mechanic and pushing it to the next level. I remember there was a game on Nintendo that did that, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But there was a Nintendo game that did that, where basically, you know, you had a meter or a fear meter or something like that. And the higher it got, the more scared you got and the more crazy stuff went on around you. Like suddenly the game was shut off, or basically breaking the third wall. Okay. Basically breaking that third wall, you know? So I'm kind of wondering if they're taking that mechanic and kind of upping it to the next level.
What does that mean? What does that mean? It's terrifying.
Players will find themselves traversing beautiful and hostile environments, seeking answers from patterns and signs that Senua sees in her own unique way, and battling through encounters with enemies that will push Senua to her limits.
On Saga, we've taken everything to the next level. With a new motion capture space, a bigger stage team, a stunt crew, and a new cast.
We spent a lot of time planning the motion capture shoots, thinking of what events would be good to bring into this fight. Like, how can we make this fight feel different from the previous fight? We have all new combat for the sequel. One of our key goals was the ability to actually tell a story throughout it. It does feel very different from the first game, but it's very brutal and you're very invested in it. Senua isn't a superhero. She's fighting for survival, and we want the player to feel her struggle in every step of her journey.
This game looks absolutely brutal, man. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, back to the whole psychosis thing. Is she going to be fighting enemies that aren't there? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they like they're taught that, like earlier they talked about the whole psychosis, you know, and her seeing things that aren't there and stuff. And I'm kind of wondering if the enemies she fights are not only just going to be real enemies, but also enemies that are in her own head. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do that as well.
We want the player to always feel like they just scraped through, just survived it.
Mel knows Senua better than anyone, better than I do. Her instincts are amazing, and she really doesn't need much help from me. On stage, our main focus is storytelling. So I get to watch the actors and see all the beautiful expressions on their faces. And then I have to wait a little while, and then I get to see that all again, in-game, in costume, on location, everything. It's a great experience, a great process.
Every discipline in the studio is unified in achieving a deep level of immersion to help suspend your disbelief and pull you into Senua's story. We were lucky enough to do a few reference gathering trips in Iceland. You have to be there. The sense of scale, everything is incredible. And you see a scene or you see a small section of the game and you're like, yeah, that works, that's amazing.
Senua experiences reality differently, and a part of this manifests in the voices she hears.
She will collapse. She will collapse.
These voices come to life through binaural audio, which provides a good representation of this type of auditory hallucinations. As we focus in immersion, binaural audio is perfect for this because through headphones, you surround yourself in a three-dimensional space. In the first game, we only applied to the voices that Senua listens in her head. In this game, through spatial audio technology and some extra little things within the game, there is music that is binaural. Every single sound has the potential to be binaural, so everything is spatialized around you, and it's a very beautiful experience.
What will they do to her? What will we do to us?
Music is a strange language in the sense that it speaks to our emotions fast and deep. It's not only about quality, it's about personality. So when you listen to Hellblade, you know it's Hellblade.
Okay, it seems like audio is going to play a big part in this game. You know, they're talking about the spatial audio and stuff. And, you know, one of the things that schizophrenics, that, as I've heard, you know, I don't know anyone who's schizophrenic, but like one of the things I've heard schizophrenics say is that, you know, they hear voices, you know, and the way they're describing it, they're making it sound like the voices are not just going to come from the sides, but sound like they're coming from all around you, which I think is going to be really interesting in this game. And I think it will add an element of horror to this game. You know, this game already seems like a horror game. You know, I'm not very familiar with Hellblade, like I said before, but this does not seem like Devil May Cry or Heavenly Blade. This seems like a suspense game, you know? So, you know, like I said before, I'm not very familiar with Hellblade. You know, I heard of Hellblade 1, but like, yeah, like they're really adding all the stops to the whole psychological element of it, from her seeing stuff to her, you know, hearing things. I think that really is going to add to the suspense of this game.
On the music, we are working with Heilung, which for me is a personal privilege because I really admire them. We feel their craft, their depth, their meaning in the music. It really connects with our game and elevates it to something really special. We are also working with a heavy metal singer, throat singers, and our very own Furies. They sing so beautiful, and we add that binaural touch of music. So this all creates a very immersive and a very special and unique experience.
Our mission here at Ninja Theory is to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech. And that's our aim in Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, is to not only see where Senua goes next, but to deliver something really meaningful for our players.
My hope is that they will really connect to Senua as a character, and even if they can't really relate to what she's going through, maybe they know someone that relates to that character and they can then understand that person better.
Well, I don't want to sound cheesy, but in a way I'm Senua, right? She exists and doesn't. It exists through all of our work, through every ninja. So we all are Senua, and we are creating this character that grows and grows and grows and grows and keep growing and keep changing. So that makes it real.
I'm so proud of the love, care, and passion our team here at Ninja Theory are putting into Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Our hope is to not only create a game that is great to play, but to craft an experience that leaves you thinking and feeling. From our combat gameplay through to our action set pieces, from our cinematic scenes to our puzzle solving, everything is crafted in service of Senua's journey, a journey that you can embark on May 21st.
So it's coming out on May 21st. Now, since I saw this, there's been some new info coming out that the game is going to be digital only. Now, I think this is a bad thing, okay? I've heard this game is going to be digital only, that you will only be able to get this as a digital download. I don't like that, okay? And I know people are going to say, oh, well, there's all kinds of games that are digital only and stuff. Yeah, I full on accept that. I accept that digital maybe is the future, but I don't like it when games are digital only, okay? Like, for example, I've got a digital only game called Mark of the Ninja, okay? That you can only get on the PlayStation Store, okay? I full on admit that, and it's a great game. Full on great game. But I still want the option to buy physical copies. And I'm starting to feel like a lot of these game companies are forcing me to buy from their storefront, okay? That they're forcing me to buy, digital games from their storefront instead of going out and, where I could go to Walmart or GameStop or Amazon and buy the game there. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, they can offer you codes and stuff like that. But there's still something about holding a disc for me. There's still something like, okay, I've got the disc. I can play the game. Okay. Especially when you hear about all the stuff going on where people are suddenly getting banned for doing this and doing that. And I don't know. Like, I just prefer the disc. Now, does that mean I'm not going to shop digitally? No, it does not. And like I said before, I am a PlayStation fan, and this is coming to Xbox Series X and S, PC, and Game Pass on May 21st. So I probably won't end up playing this unless I get an Xbox, which I don't think I am. But back to what I was saying. I just don't like digital-only stuff, okay? Now, there are games I've gotten that are digital only, okay? There's Mark of the Ninja, there's Strider. Those are digital only games that I have gotten, okay? And I'm not against getting digital only games. I really ain't. I just like the option where if a game is digital only and there's another game that's CD based, I would still like that option of getting a physical copy. So that way I can actually have a physical copy. There's something about having a physical copy that appeals to me, of having that option. Okay. And I know people are going to, be there like saying, oh, well, physical copies do this to the environment and all this other stuff. I just prefer physical copies. I just full on prefer physical copies because at least when you got a physical copy, okay, then someone at PlayStation or Xbox or Steam cannot just suddenly decide, okay, you did something wrong or we don't like you and we're going to take that game away from you. Okay. So yeah, seriously, I prefer a physical copy versus a digital only release. Okay. That don't mean I'm not going to buy a digital only release. That just means that I prefer a physical copy. So I really do think that having this big of a game as a digital only release, and this is if it's true. Okay, this is if it's true. Now, just as I'm recording this, I went and I searched for Senua Saga 2 news, and I found this from GameSpot. And let me get back on here. And it says here that Senua Saga Hellblade 2 is a $50 digital only release. That's another problem I have with digital only releases, is that it doesn't seem like they go down in price. Like a CD, if I wait a year for say Call of Duty, if I wait a year for Call of Duty, I can get it for $5, $10. But a digital only release, like right now, if I wanted last year's Call of Duty digital only, I would have to pay $50 for it still. It doesn't seem like things depreciate where people can get them easier over time digitally like they do physical copies. And I flat out still want a physical copy of a game. Okay, I'll just be honest. I prefer a physical copy over a digital only release. That don't mean I'm not going to buy a digital only release. That just means I prefer a physical copy. Okay, so yeah, I'm already seeing some pushback online about this. That I'm already seeing that some people are saying, "Yo, no, we don't want a digital only release. We want the option to get a physical copy." I think that this kind of policy, when it comes to big releases like AAA titles, is really detrimental. Okay, and I do think there is going to be some pushback. Okay, in terms of people saying, "Yo, I'm not down with that." Okay, because of the simple fact that people want that choice. They want the option to get especially for a AAA title. Now, if it's some kind of indie title or something, I can maybe live with that, because indie studios maybe don't have the capital to put everything on discs and stuff like that. But like for a AAA title like Hellblade 2, I think they should give people the option. They should give people the option. They should say, okay, you can choose the digital only release or you could choose the physical only release. And honestly, this is another one of those situations where it feels like these game companies are trying to force everyone to their stores. Where if you're on PlayStation, they want to force you to buy from the PlayStation store. Where if you're on Xbox, they want to force you to buy on the Xbox store. Where if you're PC, they want to force you to buy on Steam and stuff. And recently, the head of Ubisoft said that we need to get used to not owning our games. That's garbage. Okay? That's full-on garbage to me. Okay? That is just so garbage in my mind that ain't funny. If I pay $50 for something, I want to own it. And that's the thing about digital only is like, if you pay $50 for a physical copy, you have the physical copy that you can plug into your system at any time and not download the update and just play. Okay? Full on play. But as far as like the digital only, if they decide that you've done something wrong or for whatever reason, they could take that away from you. They could say, hey, guess what? We don't like you playing our game for A, B, C, and D. We're going to take it away from you. And we've seen that happen. How many times have we heard stories about someone getting banned off Xbox for taking this screenshot at the wrong moment or taking this video at the wrong moment? Okay? Like, I just don't like that capacity of digital only. I don't like that part of it where they could just suddenly just take it from you. Okay? Whereas a physical copy, you actually feel like you own something physical that's in your hand. You can plug it in, and maybe it'll have a whole bunch of bugs and glitches to it, but at least you can plug it in and play it. Now, I'm not against buying digital. I've never been against buying digital. I've bought digital, okay? But I just like that option of buying digital versus physical. But yeah, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is coming out in May. It's coming to Xbox Series X and S. Let me just say, right now, I don't know how I feel about this. It looks like a great game, but the fact that it's coming to Xbox exclusive, and someone pointed this out to me that this is going against what Bethesda was promised in terms of their acquisition by Microsoft. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what someone pointed out to me. But yeah, it's being made by Bethesda, Ninja Theory, that sort of thing. And just the fact that it's a digital only release kind of turns me off because I want that option to buy a physical copy. Okay, I want that option. But the fact that it's coming on Xbox Series X and S, yeah, like I still don't know which console I'm going to get yet because I've been burned by Xbox, but I've not been burned by PlayStation. But PlayStation just looks ugly. The PlayStation 5 just looks ugly right now. But anyway, that was Senua Saga Hellblade 2. It's coming out in May. It's going to be exclusive to Xbox X and S owners, as well as PC and Game Pass. What they're also going to be doing is they're going to be doing a digital only release, so you'll only be able to get it digitally. Like I said before, I'm not too down with that. And I think there's already beginning to be pushback by a whole lot of people that says they're not down with it either. And this is just another example of, honestly, it feels like another example of these game companies trying to force you into certain storefronts, and honestly trying to push out GameStop and all these other small town retailers that sell these games. It honestly feels that way, at least in my opinion. All right, so the other game I really looked at towards the Xbox Direct was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, I've seen this trailer, and there's some things I like about it, things I don't like about it. One big thing. So we're going to kind of take a look at this trailer, and I'm going to kind of give you some of my thoughts on it.
Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones. While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you. You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning instead of ending up here, dead and forgotten in the sense of Africa.
Okay, it's already looking great. All right, I will be honest with you. It's already looking great. You know, you see Indy, he's in Africa, which I don't think we've ever been to Africa in an Indiana Jones game. So there's something that it's being made by Machine Games, so they know what they're doing. So let's keep on trucking and see what we got here.
Myths. History.
Okay, this right here is a big red flag right here. Because, and it might be and it might not be, okay? But this looks an awfully lot like the character from The Dial of Destiny. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. This does not look like Miriam Ravenwood at all. Now, if they are doing some switcheroo here, okay, I might give that a chance. But if this is a character from The Dial of Destiny, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, then that is a big, big red flag for me. That is a huge red flag for me already. Because The Dial of Destiny, I didn't go see Dial of Destiny. I will be honest with you. But just based on everything I've heard of it, The Dial of Destiny was a trash fire. Okay? And why they would link this game to The Dial of Destiny, I don't know. I really don't. But if this is the character from The Dial of Destiny, that is a big red flag.
Different ways to interpret the past. Thousands of years of humanity's thoughts and beliefs, scattered and buried. Just waiting.
Now, that whole scene right there, it kind of reminds me of Tomb Raider, except in Tomb Raider, you didn't switch from first to third person perspective. So I'm kind of wondering about that. You know, like, okay, is this going to have a lot of Tomb Raider elements in it? All right. While that's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't want to just flagrantly rip off Tomb Raider. Okay. I want this to really have something that distinguishes it separate from being Tomb Raider. Okay. And it can't just be that Tomb Raider is a woman and Indiana Jones is a man. It's got to be something that I can sit there and say, okay, this is Indiana Jones and the Circle. This is Tomb Raider. Like what's going to distinguish it from Tomb Raider? Because Tomb Raider has been like the premier, it's been Tomb Raider and Uncharted. So those two games have really been the premieres in terms of like games, in terms of archaeology games, those type of adventure games. All right. And Indiana Jones has got to come into this, and he's really got to set himself apart from those.
To be found.
You can't just run away from your problems.
Already, we're seeing some old characters from here. I think this is Brody from the original movies. I know he ain't voiced by the same guy, but yeah, like just seeing some old characters come back on here is really interesting. I'm hoping I know we're seeing Brody, but I'm hoping we'll kind of see maybe Miriam. I don't know where this is going to take place in the timeline. Like, is she dead at this point? What about Mutt? I mean, all that. It's going to be interesting to see how they play this into the timeline of everything that's happened in the Indiana Jones films. I mean, is this going to take place before Dial of Destiny, after Dial of Destiny, all that, So I'm kind of interested to see where they do that.
Indiana.
Watch me.
Okay, I love that gameplay right there of just him using the whip on people and him picking up like an axe and throwing it and stuff. So it just shows to me that they are staying true to the character, So, but I'm just kind of wondering, like, are there going to be like upgrade elements? Like, okay, he can, latch on longer with his whip than he could before. I'm kind of wondering about those RPG elements that we see like in Tomb Raider and all these other games. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to be in there, how big of a part of the game they're going to be, but just seeing how they're doing it so far, I'm liking that. I'm liking the visuals. I'm liking the gameplay elements, but the whole thing about that character, that female character, if that is the character from Dial of Destiny, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, okay, and I know she ain't gonna be voiced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but if that is that character, that is a big red flag for me.
Throughout history, mankind has built sites of great spiritual significance. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle. I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
All right, the fact that they are doing the same music really gives me hope for this. But there's that female character again, okay? There's that female character again, okay? The character that no one liked. And I just don't understand why they would link this to the Dial of Destiny if it is that character. If it is that character.
Okay, then. Let's see if you can keep up.
What do you mean if I could keep up?
Now, this is really important right here because we're seeing a Japanese Zero right here, okay? Normally, you see Indy fighting the bad guys from World War II. I don't think there's been really a situation where he's come up against someone from Imperial Japan. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see that, okay? And all that. Because usually he's fighting either the Soviets, if you remember Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, if you remember Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, in Last Crusade, he was fighting the bad guys from World War II. And then we jump forward to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he was fighting the Soviets. So, like, yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see him fighting the Japanese in this one.
Patron of the fallen angels. Protector of the Chukulimani. The Great Circle.
Okay, so that was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's said to be coming out this year. Look, I like the visuals. I like what I saw in terms of the gameplay, like them actually incorporating the whip into the gameplay, actually incorporating where he has to find like items and throw them to take out bad guys, a gun, all that. Okay, I am all for that. And let me see if I can't find it. Let me see if I can't find that one scene. Whoopsie. Let's see here. Right there. That ain't a good picture of her. No, I can't find it. Okay. So anyway, let me go back here. So anyway, the character you're seeing Indy talk to right there, that honestly looks like the character from Dial of Destiny. And why they would link this game to Dial of Destiny, I have no earthly idea. So the only thing I can think of, okay, really the only thing I could really think of was that Machine Games had to make a deal with Lucasfilm or LucasArts and basically say, okay, this game has to be linked to Dial of Destiny. Now, I could be wrong. This could be a completely different character. But just based on the screenshots I've seen of it, just based on all this stuff, see, like right there's a good one. It looks like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character from Dial of Destiny. Why they would link this to Dial of Destiny, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense why they would do that. Now, if this is a completely different character and just looks like her, fine. Okay. I will remove my criticism of that point. But if this is meant to be like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character from Dial of Destiny or something along those lines, why in the world would you want to link this game to one of the worst performing movies, not only of 2023, but in the legacy of Indiana Jones games? This movie, Dial of Destiny, did worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Okay, it did worse than that. All right. So why in the world would you link it to that, the worst movie of his legacy? Okay. And another thing I'm going to find, that I'm kind of finding interesting, is where they're going to put this. Now, now let's assume for a second, and I hate to play like the bad guy here, but let's assume for a second that this is the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, okay? And they are linking it to Dial of Destiny. That means this is going to take place after Dial of Destiny, but that doesn't make sense with the bad guys from World War II, unless, okay, let's just say, unless we have, some type of, rogue unit working out in the shadows trying to bring back the government from World War II, okay? Unless we have some kind of rogue unit type of thing going on. But, like, if this is the character that we know from Dial of Destiny, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, who by all counts was every 5 seconds putting down Indiana Jones, why would you even consider linking this game to that movie? Why? And the only thing I could come up with really is that some kind of deal had to be struck where Machine Games got to work on the game, but it had to be linked to Dial of Destiny. Okay? It had to be linked to Dial of Destiny. And that's literally the only thing I could think of. Honestly, I would have preferred it if they had Miriam Ravenwood on here. Full on would have preferred it, I mean, I just don't understand why you would link this, why you would even consider linking this to Dial of Destiny. if some kind of deal was struck, okay, where they basically said, okay, you want to work on this game, you've got to literally link it to Dial of Destiny. That's literally the only thing I can think of. But no, I could be wrong. This could be a completely different character, but it looks like the character from Dial of Destiny, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character. And I never saw Dial of Destiny, but based on all accounts, it was a trash fire. I mean, it was a complete and utter trash fire. So why would you link that unless you were forced to, you know? And that's a red flag for me right there. Because if they were forced to, what else were they forced to do? You know, what other things were they forced to do that is going to take them outside of their comfort zone? Now, look, everything else looked great in this. Okay, everything else looked great. Okay, and as you can see here, it's coming to Xbox Series X and S. It's coming to Steam, PC, Game Pass. So that's where this is all coming to. But like that one scene with the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character is sending out red flags for me. Okay, and I don't know if it is that character from Dial of Destiny, but just the fact that if they were forced to put her in there, what else were they forced to do? You know, the gameplay looks good. The whole mechanics involving the whip look good, and it looks good in terms of the archaeology and the puzzles and everything. But just having it linked to Dial of Destiny, I think, is a bad no. And honestly, it's a no-go for me. It's honestly a no-go for me. And I fully believe that they were probably forced to do that. Okay. I fully believe they were probably forced to do that. And if they're forced to do that, what else were they forced to do? You know, that is the question that's kind of plaguing my mind with this trailer. I mean, the whip looks good. The fact that they brought in like Brody and, well, not the actual actor who played Brody, but the fact that they brought in like they did Brody, and they're probably going to have, hopefully they'll have other characters from Indy's past on here. But the fact that they have that character, that female character, the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, who everyone universally hated in Dial of Destiny, why would you bring her in and not Miriam Ravenwood? Doesn't make any sense, okay? Unless some kind of deal was struck. So, yeah, that was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's coming to Xbox Series X and S. Like I said before, I am getting big red flags just with that character alone. Now, if that character turns out to be a completely different character, then so be it. I will revise my critique of it. But if that does turn out to be her, and if this is linked to the Dial of Destiny, then that is a huge, huge red flag for me. So that was your Geek Report for the week of January the 15th through the 22nd, 2024. This week, it was all about Xbox. This past week, Xbox did an Xbox Direct, and they showed several games off, but we looked at two. We looked at Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, and we looked at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and I gave you my thoughts and opinions on both of these games. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying safe and staying healthy. Check out some of my other video sites, whether it be on YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey. You all take care of yourselves, take care of each other, watch over yourselves, be groovy, be cool to one another, and I will see y'all in the next video and next stream. Laters.